Ask everybody to stand. Lynette, we'll have a word of prayer for us.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you very much for this day. Thank you for the people here in this county. Lord, we ask that you bless the magistrates and bless the people that they represent. Go with us and guide us, and help us to always do your will. We ask in your name.
First thing you said, accept the minutes of the last court meeting. What's your pleasure? Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Next, we have a bunch of folks from AEP. Glad to have you. Greg Pauley, he's the, I guess we would call him the head dog around AEP. Greg, if you want to stand up and introduce who you have, tell the court who you have with you, and basically what's on you.
Very well, thank you. Thank you so much, Judge. Magistrate, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here with you. Before I introduce the team, let me tell you what a beautiful building this is. I've been all over Eastern Kentucky doing this presentation, and you're number one when it comes to facilities here, so my compliments to you. This young lady sitting here to my left is Allison Barker. She is our communications manager. She's located in Frankfort, soon to be relocated to Ashland. We've announced we're moving our corporate office back from Frankfort to Ashland, and she'll be headed there. Brad Hall is the gentleman in the dark sport coat. He's our manager of external affairs, and seated to his right is the guy by the name of Bob Shirtliff. I don't know if you know him or not, but
Yeah, I know.
Bob is our MDS, and we just think the world of him. He does a great job for us, and hope that you feel the same way. Everett Phillips, who's sitting on the front row, he's in charge of all the work that gets done in Eastern Kentucky. He's located in Ashland. He's the manager of regional operations, and most everybody that you see sitting there reports to him. Linda and Dell represent our customer services. We're refocusing on customer services. We recognize we've kind of fallen short a little bit on that, and Dell is leading that, and Linda is one of her great performers. And Linda's located in Pikeville, and Dell is located in Ashland. So, I understand I got about 15 minutes, so I'll get through this as quickly as I can. What I want to talk to you about this evening is what's happening in Kentucky Power Company. I don't know if you can see that or not. We may need to turn down a light or something from the standpoint of that, but it's thank you very much. I'm going to trust everybody. Kentucky Power is recognizing what everybody is recognizing with regard to what's happening to the energy industry. And it's not just us, and it's just not AEP, it's every utility company across America. And although we continue to embrace our coal heritage, we're trying to continue to make things happen in Eastern Kentucky with our economic development plan, as well as remaining a committed partner to you and all the other areas in which we serve. Our generation portfolio, as it is right now in 2016, is about 80% coal and 19%, excuse me, gas, and we have a little bit of energy efficiency and demand response. And I'll get into that a little bit more. You know, it used to be we would build power plants, we would buy coal, we would generate electricity, and we would tell you to use and use and use and use and use. And we never wanted you to conserve because we wanted to sell you electricity. But with what's happening everywhere else, we're really trying to work with you to help you become more energy efficient in all that you do, because the more efficient you are with the product that we sell you, the less reliant we become on needing another power plant and all of that. By 2020, we see more renewables within our portfolio, and we also see, hopefully, a greater emphasis on energy efficiency and demand response. And that's just many things that you can be doing about that. And I'll get more into renewables later on in the presentation. Now, let me talk to you about why we're changing our portfolio, because I know a lot of people, especially in this part of the Commonwealth, love coal. In fact, we love coal too. For many, many decades, AEP was the largest consumer of coal to generate electricity in the nation. That's where we built our power plants. We had great power plants. And as you can see, as most recently as 2005, 74% of our portfolio was coal, 17% was natural gas, 6% was nuclear, 3% was hydro, and we had just a little bit with regard to energy efficiency and demand response. And then what happens? You get an organization in Washington known as the EPA. You get an administration in Washington that loves the EPA, and then all of a sudden you see where the tables are turned against coal from the standpoint they want places to be more green. They apply all these rules and regulations on us with regard to what it is, and coal, as great a natural resource as it is, becomes much more expensive to burn to meet the EPA standards and future standards, that the cost just becomes too great for our customers to have to pay. That's that proverbial when you get between a rock and a hard place and you don't know what to do. Well, we recognize we need to diversify our portfolio because we were putting our customers at risk as well as our company at risk. And by 2016, you're going to see AEP's portfolio move from 74% to about 50% coal. We're going to be increasing gas up to 28%. We're going to be increasing the hydro and wind and all of that from the standpoint up to 11%. And then you see we're going to remain about the same, increase in energy efficiency. And then you look out at 2026, we're going to be under 50% with regard to coal. Why is that? Fuel costs are becoming very excessive right now. The demand for what it is that we present and supply to you is changing. I'm going to give you some examples of that in a minute. The technology surrounding our industry is changing, and obviously the regulations both at the federal level and the state level is impacting utility companies to change how they produce the product that you use. Let's look very quickly at a universal solar. It's going to cost about $114 per megawatt hour to build. That 25% means it's the capacity factor, which means it's available about 25% of the time. Wind is $73 per megawatt. Natural gas advanced combined cycle is $100. Natural gas advanced combined cycle $73. Advanced coal with carbon capture and storage is all the way up to $144. And we just put in there conventional coal. We just put that in there to show you that even it now is at $95. Now, is anybody going to build a conventional coal plant anymore? No. In fact, this current president has said if you build another coal plant, I'm going to what? Go bankrupt you. He's going to bankrupt you. Because he does not want continued use of coal. So that just gives you an idea about the costs with regard to what's happening in the sources that we use. Now, here's what it costs to build in terms of 1,000 megawatts. For the combined cycle natural gas, about 1.2 million. Wind, 1.8. Solar, 2.3. Coal, ultra supercritical, 3.3. And coal, ultra supercritical, with carbon capture and storage through the EPA laws and everything that you have to do to meet those, 7.5. So you see, it's just incredibly expensive to build a facility that would burn coal in order to provide you with electricity. In fact, I use the term cost prohibitive because you don't want to pay, even though you may love and appreciate, as we all do, the natural resource of coal. It simply is not affordable anymore to use, to burn, to generate electricity because of the cost associated with using it. We also find that in terms of what's happening with natural gas, it's not only the EPA and all the regulations, but the other thing that's happened, and this is probably not new news to you, it's the glutton of gas that's now available, and we expect, or our experts predict, that it's going to stay below $5 per million BTU for as far as in advance as to 40 or 50 years. That is simply incredible. It's astounding with regard to what's happening to the cost of natural gas. But I, as a person responsible for a utility company, when I go to the Public Service Commission to say, I want to change my rates, or I want to do something to build something and all that, they always push me to the lowest cost. They say, Greg, what's the lowest cost in order to accomplish that? You see where coal is now, and that's why you see utility companies switching to gas, because it is a lower cost, because in the end, it's you, the consumer, who has to pay for it. Now, something else that's happening in eastern Kentucky, we used to have 175,000 customers in eastern Kentucky. We are now down below 170,000 customers. The population, this is probably not new news to you, from the standpoint the population in eastern Kentucky and the service territory is dwindling. They're moving away to other places where jobs are and all of that, so we have to be careful in terms of what we're doing. But then we also see that our load is becoming less because people are becoming more efficient with their appliances and products. Technology out there, we walk into a store, they show you many different ways that you can better utilize our product. Using the right light bulb will drive the cost down incredibly. Demand side management, which is something you do in terms of controlling how you use our product, is great. We want you to do that. Your behavior is changing with regard to how you use electricity. There are people out there who want these thermostats that kick on at 6 a.m. and kick off at 8 a.m. because they're leaving to go to work. They kick back on at 4 p.m. and they kick off at 10 p.m. I mean, it's just the technology and behavior that helps control the load. Let's look at, from the standpoint of Kentucky Power, total employment about 717, 216 of which is Kentucky Power. We have transmission employees, we have IT employees, we have fleet employees, materials management, that's our storeroom, miscellaneous support. We have 12 of those people. That's where we put Bob Shirtliff. He's miscellaneous. and then from the generation standpoint, the plant that we have half ownership in up at Mitchell plant is 314. And at this particular point in time, that 71 at Big Sandy includes some construction workers. In the end, Big Sandy will probably have somewhere between 25 and 30 with regard to the conversion of Unit 1 to gas. There we go.
I know what happened.
Okay.
Sorry.
I can't talk that fast, so I
I
won't.
know, let me catch up here. I hit the wrong button.
Okay, here's an example. Let me tell you what's happening also. We have companies coming to us now that are saying, Greg, we'd like to move into your service territory, or we'd like to move into AP service territory, but here's what we want. We want green power. We don't want any fossil fuel power. We don't want coal. We don't want gas. Let me give you an example of a couple. Google has all these places that they build and try to work out of, but they want green power. Toyota is moving to renewable power. Walmart has a big goal of being off the grid. They want to be able to produce and use their products and all that in order to keep their energy use in-house, and they run it that way. So you're dealing with a lot of what's happening. You can see the cost of technology. For solar, used to be 45 cents per kilowatt hour. It's down now at a commercial level, a larger level, at 6.5 cents per kilowatt hour. That's very competitive with the cost of generating electricity. Of course, that'll be out to 2030, but you can see technology is coming in and it's driving those costs down. Carbon regulation, I don't have to explain that to you from the standpoint of CPP. Carbon regulation will exist. It will always exist, and it will become expensive. And it really is a driver with regard to what utility companies are doing to generate electricity. We have no idea what the Supreme Court's going to do. We have no idea how they're going to rule on it. I would tell you from my perspective, having been in this business for 42 years, there's going to be something that comes out of the Supreme Court on that. I really appreciate where Kentucky is right now, which really is they're playing idle on this because they don't know what's going to happen. And until they know what's happening, it's best just to sit still. You may have seen an article in the paper about that here just recently. What we're going to do is we're going to rely on the Mitchell plant. The Mitchell plant, one of the reasons that we acquired half of that plant was because it was only going to cost me $500 million to do that. To retrofit Big Sandy 2, it was going to cost me over $1 billion to do that. Who pays for that in the end? You and I pay for it as customers. We're going to increasingly use the Unit 1 at Big Sandy for the gas. We're going to expand energy efficiency. We're going to pursue alternative fuels. We have coal industry people coming to me now saying, Greg, we'd like to talk to you about how we can convert some of our coal lands into solar fields. In order to do that, because they recognize they're in locations where that plays. And we're working with them because they're using that with regard to using that land. We're going to be operating, and we're going to still be operating under a regulated environment. Regulation to us is the Public Service Commission. And for those of you in Eastern Kentucky, you might want to smile at this from the standpoint, I think it's a great deal. The Secretary of Energy for the Commonwealth of Kentucky is a man by the name of Charles Snavely. You all know Charles Snavely? He is from Eastern Kentucky. The new chairman of the Public Service Commission is from Eastern Kentucky. So the good thing about this is, and I'm excited about it from the standpoint, they understand what all's going on, and they can make great decisions with regard to what's happening. Let's move on. We're going to continue our efforts into economic development. Our big initiative right now, or one of our big initiatives, is SOAR. I think you're all familiar with SOAR. I believe in SOAR. We make a contribution to SOAR. But one of the things that bothers me a little bit about SOAR is it's so big. It's 50-some counties, and it's really engaged with at the federal level, depending upon a lot of federal politics with regard to this. So keep going. What we really focus on is our One East Kentucky, which is headquartered out of Prestonsburg, the Big Sandy Community Technical College. We are doing a number of things with them, and that's important. We also do the Kentucky Power Economic Development Growth Grants. They're called KPEG. That was brought about by the last rate case that we had. We asked for a 15-cent per customer charge each month on your bill, and then our stockholders match that 15 cents, and that generates for us about $600,000 a year that we invest right back in to the 20 counties that we serve in Kentucky Power Company on activities that involve economic development. And the young man that I have put in charge of that is Brad Hall. It's his job, along with his committee, which also includes a member of the Kentucky Economic Development Cabinet and a member of the Kentucky Economic Development Program, Kentucky Association of Economic Development, in order to make sure that we understand what economic development is. But that money goes right back in to the communities we serve on economic development initiatives that are appropriate. If you want to buy a new air conditioner for your building, no. But if you want to help start a business that creates jobs and all that, we're going to be right there with you. We're going to help you. Let's keep on. We have the Economic Development Advancement Program is an investment of about $200,000 a year over 5 years, which creates $1 million. It's basically the same type of activity, although it's particular to these counties with regard to those around the Big Sandy plant, in order to help them with the, if you will, the transition into the area with regard to what's happening in Big Sandy Unit 2. Great program. We have some great companies that have started as a result of this and doing well and creating jobs, and that's very important as well. We'll go on and look at some others. Here's Brad's picture with Chuck Sexton, who's over One East Kentucky. It is a great program. Is Martin County involved with that?
Yes.
Great, great. Then you know that. There are some counties who aren't, so I apologize for. But here's an example. One is a 9-county organization based in Prestonsburg. That organization, and we are proud to be a part of that, raised $2.5 million within about a year's period of time to get that organization up and running, because all of it is, it's money that's being reinvested back in to those 9 counties to help in economic development. It's just great, and Chuck is doing a super job. One of the most recent things was the workforce analysis project. I don't know if any of you were in Hazard when that was presented, but it was a great program, and it really lifted the spirits because our coal miners are well-trained people. They have great skills, and our job is to make sure the rest of America knows what we have available in eastern Kentucky. See what else we got here? Here are some things that we've done. The 3-year study of the 10 counties focused on SWOT, strength, weaknesses, and all of that. And then we did the regional sites building, and I think most of you are already familiar with that. And then the already regional certificate of 1 East Kentucky. We're spending money on 3-year scholarships and travel expenses. One of the things that we found in our study was the fact that in some of our communities, and I'm not going to speak specifically to Inez or Martin County, but some counties simply did not have economic development teams because we were blessed with coal severance money. We were blessed with a lot of things with regard to get things done. And now that coal severance money is somewhat drying up and all that, we need to have good qualified economic development people, and we're sending them to school. In fact, I was just given a big thank you the other day by the lady over in Hazard, who's tickled to death with regard that we're helping her finish out her studies on economic development. But that's what we want to do, is help everybody, and right now total investment of $332,000. Our employees will stay active in community contributions. In fact, November 18 is our Read to Me Day. We send our employees out into the schools and we read to the young children. We donate a book to the library because those children are important to us as they are to you in the communities that we serve. Our improved reliability, we continue to work hard. I hope that you can tell me this evening that your reliability has improved. We have spent a lot of money. In fact, we spend about $27 million a year in cutting right-of-ways. And here's an example of the progress that we've made. In 2010, it would appear that the number of interruptions was about 2,300, jumped up to 2,500. In 2016, looks like we're down to less than 1,000. It's all about cutting the trees. It's all about cutting the trees and keeping those lines clear. And we have seen and heard many compliments. And if we're not doing it here, then we need to get our crews here. You can see from Ashland, Hazard, Pikeville area, what work we're doing. Hazard seems to be an area where we're ahead of the other 2 districts, but we're going to catch up. And we want to get this on about a 4 or 5 year cycle so that we just continue to do it, and every 4 or 5 years that circuit is clean and we'll be ahead of the game. Energy efficiency is just what it is. We want you to use our product better. We want you to use it smarter. We want you to use less of it, because the better you use our product, the less we have to supply to you. I don't need to go out and build a power plant. I don't need to go out and search for other energy, and let's keep things moving forward. We have energy efficiency staff that provides the information to our customers. Here's an example. Hazard Independent School earned about $105,000 for energy efficiency upgrades, and we are hopeful that all of our communities take advantage of these programs. Here's a picture of the Greene County schools, and they're $93,000. I think we may have another picture in there someplace. Here's Ashland Independent at $90,000, and they are learning how to use it. In fact, one of the school's energy management people was at our community advisory panel discussion in Hazard the other day, and he was just so happy with regard to the savings that they have seen on using energy efficiency. All right, let's turn the lights back on, and I'll be happy to take any question from you that you might have. And or if you want us to leave, we'll leave.
We'll see you.
Okay. Thank you for being honest. I like your shirt. 06 salt.
You hear a lot of in the news, nuclear, is it really coming back, or it won't be back in our area?
Judge, I believe nuclear will come back. The big fear about nuclear right now is what to do with the spent fuel. I think there's movement in Washington to get that taken care of. I think there's also movement in Washington with regard to other places where that spent fuel can be spent. The problem with nuclear right now is that it is so expensive to build. But once you get it built, once it's up and running, It is the most efficient way to generate electricity for a longer period of time, even from coal-fired power plants. But still gonna take some time. It just seems like every time we start taking steps forward nuclear in America, there's a catastrophe somewhere. It just puts everybody back up to square one. But I'm really excited about the fact that I kept saying that my children, when they grow up, would see, now, there are new nuclear plants built in the southeast. They still do that. But see, Kentucky has an issue that's in statute that says until they figure out what to do with the spent fuel, nothing will ever happen. And that has tried, they have tried to repeal that or modify that in the legislature. It's been supported by the Senate, it just doesn't get past the House.
I have a question about the demolition cost.
Yes,
Is the demolition cost, is that something that's going to be infinite or finite? You know, that's passed on to the customers for the demolition?
okay, let's see, it's not infinite. I think the total cost of that, it's, I heard this explained the other day in one of our community advisory meetings. It had to do with the fact that that is something that has been a part of the cost of that plant, and it will continue to be a cost of that plant until everything gets taken care of, and then it will fall off. That's just, it's the same thing.
So is that going to be like in a number of years?
Yes, yes,
Or is
yes.
that going to be like $1 billion?
Well, if you see on your bill, you see a big sandy retirement rider. Contrary to popular belief, that's not my retirement account.
That's what I've been telling you.
That's not my retirement account, right? What that is, and our regulatory guys says, never thought anybody would think that, that's why I come up with that name. But let's say you bought a car for $10,000, you drove it for a while, you took out a loan on it, you traded it in, you got another car, but you still owe $2,000 on that $10,000 investment. That's what that retirement rider is, and it's going to be on there for about 40 years, but it's a very small number.
Okay, now, I'm not talking about the retirement rider. Is the retirement rider, is that for the demolition cost?
Yeah, that's all part of the retirement in terms of all the things associated with the coal of Big Sandy too. Yeah.
So there's no certain year or date or amount?
We have agreed with the PSC to put that on for 40 years. Now, let me tell you why it's 40. It's because that makes the cost so small for the customer. We talked about putting it on, just saying one big thing to let everybody pay for it, and the commission said, let's spread it out so it doesn't take that long to do it, and the customer charge is only very small. That's why it's out there for 40 years. Yeah.
The biggest issue that we had, Greg, and I've mentioned this to you before, is when they cut right away, they basically, unless they're in somebody's front yard, basically just leave it there where it is. The twofold problem is, if that was, there's an area right above town here that I can work on, look at it, and if that gets on fire, it's going to burn a line into it. And then, I had a couple years back, that they cut a bunch of brush and left it in the creek up on Middleport. That's one problem we have, and then another problem is when y'all set a new pole, the other one stays there. I understand that the telephone company, cable company, bring off y'all's poles. You're going to get in town, they've been doing a big project in town replacing poles. Well, in some places we have three poles. Older one, old, and a new one. So, if you could help us with that, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Let me talk with your most recent comment first. I wholeheartedly agree with you. In fact, I've been so frustrated by that because we have to get that new pole in, we have to get ours transferred. And it's like, okay, everybody transfer. They just don't seem to be as motivated to get that off as we are. And we're still talking to them and trying to get them motivated to get that transferred so we don't have all that. From a tree trimming perspective, the guy in charge of that is Everett. And we have a new supervisor of those employees and those crews, and I think we're doing a better job. We should not be leaving them in places where creeks are and all that. That's not what that's all about. And so if you have issues with that, call us, because this new guy is doing a fantastic job for us, and we're excited because he's on top of that.
They also take the wood chips and
outside.
Look, too, when they chip it up,
Mhm.
when they do chip, they kind of look at it, every little white spot on the road, they just.
Just
cover
dump it
up.
there?
You know, they just
Okay.
dump it there.
Everett, if you would please, take note of this and talk with
And
the
there's a number as well, and I called that number, of course, not recently. That's why they charged out. Like a year or so ago, I called that number, and I get a recording, I leave a message, and I call, and no one ever returned the call as far as, being more responsible for the right-of-way clearing and the debris and stuff.
Was that a number to call us or to call?
That was the call,
Yeah.
the guy from
Okay.
Splenda, I guess that's what it
That's what-
gave me the number,
That's one, okay.
and that's what I called, and, because I never did get a response, I left numerous messages about, the right-of-way clearing and debris and everything that's generated from it. And they go up cemetery roads and dump it out, and
So noted.
issues,
So noted.
citizens and stuff.
We have some people who want it left there, others don't want it left there, and so I don't know all the details about every case, but Everett's taking a note of that, and we'll look into that.
You're just talking about cleaning the right of way, and I'm not saying that you're not doing better, but part of my district is Tomahawk area, and the Big Sandy's RCC comes through part of it, but all Rock House is AEP.
Okay?
And it comes from Saltwell through the mountains. There's not even no roads to be part of it. And it seems like they slack on cut. I'm working on that area. And that makes it to where if you have snow, one tree puts everybody in this one area. It's probably 400 houses or 5 out of electricity. And sometimes it's every winter, every 2 or 3 days. Of course, I guess they probably have, it's a bad area. They probably have 3 or 4 trees down, then they have to replace lines. But it's a major issue.
Bob, is that, where it goes through the head of Saltwell and then it's
Go-
wilderness forever?
It goes through,
That same,
You know what he's talking about?
it goes through the Upper Wolf Range and out to 1224, where it goes. If you know where that is.
yeah, it comes down Saltwell.
Yeah, it comes stop.
That's always That's always a nightmare.
It is.
There's some beavers in there too, or?
Yeah, they cut a few trees up.
Well,
Hey, one time, Greg, that,
I said huge beavers. It's like a tree growers don't even want to get around them. They're so big.
hey, one time, Greg, I know it wasn't just, I don't think it was the last, but in the spring of the year, the trail was off 5 times in a very short period of time. And 4 of them happened to be in the county judge's front yard. So little boys, y'all down there to the judge's house and get the power back. But we've took care of that problem this year.
We just wanted you to appreciate us more.
Figured that.
I have other messages from you from this meeting too, brother. Anyway. Anything else?
When's the electric bill going down?
As your usage goes down, it goes down.
I can stay gone for a month and it's still the same thing.
Now, I'm not trying to be facetious with you on this, but in terms of technology now, there's things out there that you can do that when you're going to be away, it automatically reduces what it is where your settings are, and it will not come back up to where you need it until you get back. And then from that standpoint, you're not using as much electricity while you're gone in terms of what you would normally use while you're there. Now, there are other things that happen with regard to, and here's something else that happens, and I'm not saying that you like this, the technology that we have in our houses today, those things run 24/7. How many of you only have one TV in your house? Let me ask you that here. How many of you only have one TV in your house? This good for you. Those puppies are running 24/7. And when you have computers, they run 24/7. And refrigerators and everything else in terms of that, they're running 24/7. So when you go away, in terms of that, you need to be careful with what you're doing, but also understand everything is running, whether you're using it or not. And sometimes running, it's the same cost as if you were using it. So I have to say that all of us want our computer when we type, boom, we want the information now. If it doesn't come to us now, we get upset. But anyway, I understand what you're saying. But, now, I will tell you one thing that's involved. $10 million will come off of your off of the bill in 2018 or 2019? 2019. when our reliability, extra 10 million that the commission gave us, goes off. So 2019, you'll see a reduction in that. Because that's just extra money to get all of these places cleared. Were we up to date on our clearance? No. It costs money, and we were trying to save money, and we realized the reliability issues caught up to us, and we had to spend more money in order to clear those things. And believe it or not, there are some customers out there who says, do not touch that tree. Do not touch that tree. They'll bring guns out and tell us, do not touch that tree.
You don't have to mention it.
You know what? I wasn't going to look at you when I said that. Anything else?
Yeah.
Judge, thank you so much for allowing us to come in. Appreciate every one of you. Appreciate what Martin County's doing. I know it's hard with regard to what's happening in Eastern Kentucky. That's why we're engaged in economic development. If you see things that you see can be helpful with regard to economic development, go to KentuckyPower.com and get that form out and look at it. Because here's a guy you're going to end up talking to, and it's all about how we can help each other with regard to what all's going on. And we appreciate the opportunity to serve you. And Judge, if you can make it back to one of those CAP meetings, you're always
Well,
welcome.
and then the hospital last one,
Mhm.
and I think Frankfurt on the other, they get back.
I understand being in Frankfurt, that's always a great trip.
And I talk about being in the hospital, it's always been,
But don't tell me which one's more painful. Anyway, thank
but
you.
I'll be
all
back
so-
to next.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much.
Next thing you see is the sheriff settlement. Virginia, has Linda had that?
Pardon me?
Has Linda had that?
We gave it to your staff on Tuesday, I believe.
On Tuesday? Okay, she had another meeting, she couldn't be there. I want to ask the court to go ahead and approve it. Sorry, I'm not sure. And then it looks like it's there. Motion second, all in favor?
Yes.
Recreational trails, Victor, this is you.
Okay. I just want to give you guys a little update. You got a packet there. That's an update on Southeast Kentucky Trail Coalition. We did a resolution there a while back that we would join the coalition. Consists of 9 counties. You got a list of those: Reddit, Boyd, Knott, Leslie, Letcher, Martin, McGoffin, Perry, and Pike. It's also ballooned other counties, joined as well. Let's just want to give you an update. The board of directors will be judge executive or an executive appointee, as well will be a voting member of the Trail Coalition. The mission of the coalition, of course, is to form an authority. That basically takes state legislation to do that. So our mission is to transform Southeast Kentucky into a safe, fun, family-oriented, multi-use outdoor recreational destination that promotes local economic development. 2 goals of the coalition is to pass legislation in 2017 to create the 9-county Southeast Kentucky Recreational Trails Authority, to obtain funds to develop comprehensive plans for the 9-county authority and the 9 contiguous county trail coalition, and also to obtain funding for the first 2 years of operation of the authority. Action that's been taken to do these, to reach these goals, is Representative John Short is sponsoring a bill to create the authority. It has to come through the House and in the Senate. Perry County has applied for $1 million in ARC Power Grant and $1 million in AML grant funds on behalf of the 18-county coalition. Just kind of gives you a little overview there of the number of trails we've got. Why is this authority important that we have it? Right now you have Breathitt County's got 35 miles, Knott County 100 miles, Leslie and Clay counties has multi-use trails, Pike County has 20 plus miles, Letcher County, Harlan County, all these counties have trails and ATV trails, horse trails, but it's not a cohesive unit. They can't get funding. So The authority, what they did in Hatfield McCoy Trail, they have authority over there. They govern the trail system. That's who governs it, not, not the county government, not local government, but the authority. They govern that. They buy the equipment, they maintain the trails, they collect the permit fees. Those permit fees go to the authority to maintain the trails, build the facilities, the trailheads, whatever, whatever's necessary to maintain and keep the trails going. So that's why the authority is so important, is to give us that large of an impact to be able to draw that money in from the sales of those permits, to maintain the trails, develop the trails. As you guys well know, I brought a map in here a few years back and showed all the trails that were around Martin and Pike County. Martin and Pike County did not have trails at that time. Well, right now, Martin County is the only county left on the map that doesn't have any type of trails whatsoever. So during that time period, we had the two guys that started the authority in the Hatfield McCoy area. They came to Eastern Kentucky first before they did spearhead trails in Virginia. And they couldn't get the legislation in place to do that, so they moved on to Virginia, which now has spearhead trails. Last year, in Virginia, there was like 57 brand new cabins just built last year. And that's not with government funding or any local politics. That's entrepreneurs that's investing these millions of dollars because the trails are now there in Tazewell and Wise and Buchanan and all those counties. They see the need for all this lodging and all this economic development that's taking place there. And it's local entrepreneurs that are getting the benefit out of it. They're building a $7 million boutique hotel. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but because of the trails. They started in 2008 with their authority, and 2013 they started riding trails. Took them about 5 years. Hatfield McCoy Trail took them about 10 years. Hopefully, once we are able to create the authority, we can do it in a little bit faster time. One other thing I'll bring out here to you. One of the largest problems right now, Hatfield McCoy, we're about 1,000 rooms short, 1,000 rooms to be able to provide enough lodging for the people that's coming in there right now. So that's a pretty good problem to have. They don't have enough lodging to take care of all the folks coming in spending their money.
So has this bill been pre-filed and
It's been pre-filed, and hopefully it makes it out of the House, and into the Senate, my sponsor's there. And to give you an example, they had a study, Hatfield McCoy, I think it was over a 4-year period, it was a $33 million impact. That's lodging, fuel, permit, cost, all of that, so, $33 million over a 4-year period. In Virginia, over the last year, you've had 200 new jobs, something we need here in Martin County and Eastern Kentucky as well. 47 new or expanded businesses in the Tazewell area. 16.6 million in private investment, because these people realize the impact that's going to have on their area. Does anybody have any questions about it? Got the authority or?
in the court or in the audience would like to ask Victor a question?
Also, one thing that the authority does, it keeps a $10 million insurance policy. It gives sovereign immunity, in case someone gets hurt on writes and administers the grants. It builds and maintains and polices the trails. It markets and advertises the trails in the regional tourism. It attends trade shows, develops maps and websites. It distributes and sells passes, and it encourages private and P3 development, which is private-public partnerships. That's why the authority is so important. It's going to do what Warren County can't possibly do. You know, Martin County doesn't have the funding alone to go out and build all these trails, maintain all these trails, promote all these trails, market all these trails. But when you come together as a regional authority, it gives you more, more buying power. You can buy a bulldozer, you can use it in Martin County, you can use it in Bell County, you can use it in Breathitt County. So basically it's a shared cost, and it's going to be a shared impact. We'll see all those. Let me give you an example of something that's small. Nita Collier, she had a group in here last year. I went out with them on a hike, 2 or 3 hikes. They went up and looked at some arches and some bridges and rock formations here in the county. Like 10 people came in from out of the state. You know what they do? They bought their gas here. They bought their breakfast here. They bought their lunch here. They stayed overnight here. They got up the next day, bought their breakfast, went back out, hiked some more, bought their lunch. I mean, that's only 10 people, but you magnify that times 1,000, and you get 30,000 visitors that have to employ yearly. They generate $1.5 billion in permit sales. So it's something that we need here as far as economic development is concerned, something that we can do that's so simple and so easy. We already have everything in place. We have the roads, we have the trails, we can use the community centers and trailhead. I mean, we have everything that we need for that. So I encourage guys, everybody to try to get in touch with their legislators or senators or representatives. Tell them how important it is that, we need this authority and it can only benefit us. That's all I have.
I have a question. So if this does go through, will different states, will they be connected on to us?
Exactly right. So what they want is they want a 3-state international destination. So once we have that, then they'll market that as a 3-state destination. When you pay for a permit in Martin County to ride the trails, you can then go to Breathitt County or some other county in Martin County, in Kentucky, or you can go to Hatfield McCoy Trail and ride. So when you buy a permit in Kentucky, it's good for Virginia, it's good for West Virginia, it's good for Kentucky. Same way with them. If they buy gas in Hatfield McCoy, West Virginia, then they can also ride in any of those trails, any of those states.
If that will work, you can buy a hunting license over here for $30, you go to West Virginia to hunt on Keys.
Right.
So we have to them.
That's what the authority will do. It'll make sure that we can keep the costs down and keep it affordable. Whoever sells the permit, for example, can buy fast lane, whatever, permit right now, having $50. 45 of that goes to the authority, $5 goes to the vendor. So the vendors are also getting, $5 of that permit sale. So it gives them a little incentive to try to sell the permits and things like that.
But you would still get people from Virginia and West Virginia coming through our area, right?
That's what they want. They want, Hatfield McCoy Trail's been there, we know, for 10, 15 years. Once they ride those 3 or 4 years in a row, they want somewhere fresh to go, somewhere new. So if you keep it close in the same area, that's what they want to do. They want to make it international destination.
Anything else, guys?
So basically you're wanting to do ATV trails, right?
Well, it's not just ATV trails, it's recreational trails, it's motorized, it's horses, it's bicycles, hiking, camping. Tug River, right now, Pike County's in the process of making that a blue trail. They're putting in access at Nolan up there. Something we can do is join right in with it. They can be their stopping point, it can be our beginning point. We can designate Tug River as a blue trail. I keep my riverbank cut real good with the lawnmower. I've got a little boat ramp going down. Well, I can tell you, we've had how many people come out there. Can we put our canoeing and our kayaking and go fishing. Brian Fletcher, big, y'all know him, he's been out there 4 or 5 times with 5 or 6 people. We were catching 15-inch smallmouth bass on Tug River between my house and Warville Boat Ramp. And there's been other groups out there. George Mann, his son, they come out there and put in because it's easy access. And, you know, we should be promoting that type of thing. We've already got that stuff here, and we're not marketing the way we need to be marketing, bring in these people.
Can we check into, because one of the things I get as law enforcement is, you've got a lot of ATVs and side-by-sides on the road. And the law allows them to do that for 2/10 of a mile. And, you know, then you've got some people that don't own ATVs or UTVs, and then they say, well, why do I have to have insurance on my vehicle, but yet these guys are allowed to ride on the road? Well,
That's one thing they do like at Hatfield McCoy Trail. They designate those roads four-wheeler friendly or ATV friendly or whatever. They mark those on the roadway with signage, actually on the road and by signs. And what that does though, it says you have to have the insurance, you have to have the helmet, you have to have the gear, so it's basically making it more safe
right.
for everybody involved because you've got it kind of regulated. And that's some of the things that, you know, some folks don't like about it. I don't want to wear my helmet.
I ain't wearing
Well,
no bill.
it's something that I have been, you know, wanting to talk to you guys about, is if we could do, I don't know if it's the state would allow you to or not, but if we do some type of ordinance to basically where that we could allow people to buy a permit in order to be out there, because they're going to ride.
See, that's what the authority would do. The authority would do those types of things. Actually, if the authority is put into place, all those rules and regulations come with that. So they've got all that included in there as far as indemnifying the landowner, giving the landowner incentives to be a part of the trails. And if we use your property for trails, then you get a tax break, or you don't have to reclaim it back, you know, to the way it was before you mined it, and that sort of thing. So the authority does all that. It takes care of the policing as well. Now, like for Hatfield McCoy, they have 5 guys that covers the whole area, and they rotate around. Right now, the authority is looking at, as far as East Kentucky Authority, they're looking at 4 enforcement officers that would travel around the whole Eastern Kentucky. I mean, that's not a lot, but still, they do the policing, they do the upkeep, they do the maintenance. And they do it just on what they generate from the sales of permits. The county don't have to put any money into it. It's what they generate from the sales of permits.
You better build another jail, because there's gonna be 100 DUIs every time they go in the hill. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, you only got 4 officers, John.
There's pros and cons of everything, but it's mostly, just like I said, it's just not about ATVs. It's about the whole gamut of recreational, just like the Dawson Trail line over there. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yes.
Hiking, biking, horsebacking, there's no motorized vehicles allowed on it, and it stays covered up all the time. Right now, Breathitt, McGoffin, and Knott, they're a double trail system that connects in with the Dawson Trails. Breathitt County, they had a spec building down in Jackson that was empty for 16 years. They're trying to move that up to a abandoned strip mine called Richie Clemens Cemetery Road, and they're going to put a horse center in up there. And so they've applied for funding to do that. They're one of the 5 people left in running for the ARC money to do that with. And so there are buildings there. In order to build a building like that, it's like $1.5 million. In order to dismantle that building and move it up there, $250,000. Then we'll build a welcome center up there, and campground with water line extensions. They applied for money from the AML to do all that stuff.
They
And
got
I was just
awarded
there.
yesterday.
Do what?
It got awarded
It
yesterday.
got awarded yesterday. Well, Bob Scott was when we went up to view it and look at it and all that, he was there, so it's a pretty good indication that they were going to get some of the money. But it's out in the middle of nowhere. We got better access to Peter Cave Lake right now. If you know where Peter Cave Lake is.
It's dry, figures.
It's dry. It's like a 4-lane. We got better access to Peter Cave Lake than they have to the location where they're gonna put this horse center. But, you know, it takes us to move it forward and to do something with it. You know, we just can't sit there and talk about it. But, you know, we have to wait for the authorities for them, of course. But there's other things that we can do. Campground development. We could go up here at Appalachian Speedway with the owner of that, with the owner, the guy that owns that, and say, hey, can we help put in a campground, or whatever we can do to bring in some kind of economic development. Designating Cut River as a blue trail, anything.
I kayak a lot, and I've been all over the eastern Kentucky. And we just one day decided to drop in there at Long Branch and go down. We've got one of the prettiest rivers in Kentucky. It was beautiful. I mean, you wouldn't think that if you go, but I took some pictures and I had people asking, was that Red River Gorge or somewhere? It's pretty.
Yeah, it is. Any other questions?
Okay, we must back up. Virginia, I've made a mistake. I asked him to vote on the quarterly report, contingent on Linda looking at it. I didn't realize that you had prepared the tax settlement.
Yeah,
That
that as
happened,
well.
two different things.
They're two different
So, you all have that in your folders. It's the one that's got, all the taxing districts on all the zeros beside of them. You need a motion to approve this?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
A motion second. All in favor?
Yes. Yes.
Virginia, I want you to know that, we really appreciate this. This is the thing that we always charge us about $3,000 for. And we-
You'll take half, right?
Take half at this point, yeah, no.
Opening bids on surplus property. And this is a piece of property, John, over in your district. There was 3 bids. Property bid, Chapman Bottom, $1,650. I think fair minimum was $1,625, so that reached that threshold.
Who was that? What's that?
That was Darlene Robinette. The next bid is for $1,676 from Brandon Fletcher. The third one, bid blah blah, is from Brandon Fletcher for $1,675. So,
I make a motion to give to Brandon Fraser for 76.
we have a motion on the floor to $1,676, which is the high bid. Motion is second, all in favor?
Yes.
Added $1. Yeah. Second reading of the 911 addressing ordinance. An ordinance of Martin County Fiscal Court relating to the right-of-ways and procedures for street name approval and street address assignment. Upon motion of the Fiscal Court, hereby orders that the following 911 ordinance be approved. Whereas the 911 emergency telephone service has been established for the unincorporated areas of Martin County, whereas to provide public safety and enhanced 911 emergency telephone services. It will be necessary that all properties and principal buildings and structures situated thereon be identified and assigned an address. Whereas Martin County Fiscal Court is currently in the process of readdressing all properties within an incorporated area of Martin County, shall issue addresses with identification numbers for all principal buildings and structures with multiple units or mobile homes thereon. Section 1, display of address and identification, the owner or occupant of the person in charge of any house, building, mobile home, other structures within served by the 911 emergency telephone service for which an address and identification number is assigned by the 911 coordinator shall within 30 days upon receipt and completion of the address identification form A, cause the numbers assigned to said building, mobile home structures, or units within a multiple unit structure to be permanently and prominently displayed in the site no less than 4 inches in height and conspicuous place upon said building, mobile home structure, or unit, or multi-unit structure, so as to be clearly visible, identifiable at all times during daylight hours. And if the structure is not visible from the main road or more than 50 feet from the main road, the assigned 911 number shall be placed at the end of the driveway. B, further cause any mailbox serving said building, mobile home structure, or unit within the multi-unit structure to prominently be displayed the assigned number, a size no less than 9. Cause the number is assigned to prominently displayed at the size no less than 4 inches in height, number of posts clearly visible, identifiable from the road and street designated on the address notification form. If neither the address identification number displayed upon the structures, nor the address identification number displayed upon the mailbox are discernible from the street or the road in which structure is located. Cause that are removed from the structure the mailbox of any number different from the designated in the address notification form. Josh?
New structures of mobile homes. All persons, firms, corporations, and other legal entities constructing new structures or locating or relocating mobile homes in Martin County, Kentucky from and after this date shall apply for and obtain from the 911 coordinator an address identification. Upon such request, the 911 coordinator shall assign to said structure or mobile home an address identification which shall be furnished to the applicant by the 911 coordinator to present to the United States Post Office. The 911 coordinator shall maintain a record of all numbers and addresses assigned. Section 3, renumbering of addresses. Whenever it shall become necessary and advisable to renumber any and all buildings, mobile homes, structures, or units of multi-unit structures on a street or road, the 911 coordinator shall make a list of all renumbered properties and notify the owners or occupants thereof of the renumbered addresses for display upon said properties as herein provided. Penalties. Any person who knowingly and willingly violates any of the provisions of this ordinance shall be subject to a fine of not less than $10 a day. Each day on which the violation occurs may constitute a separate offense. Effective date of ordinance. This ordinance will take effect and be in full force from and after its passage, publications, and recording according to law.
Motion.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Yes.
Next thing you see is authorize me to advertise for bid for the radio system for the 911. Motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Yes.
We just found out today, for the sheriff, we got a radio grant and
Homeland Security,
Homeland Security for radio.
communications, yes.
Okay. I like a motion, Lynette, you have it there, but I don't know.
I did receive it in the minutes, probably about a half an hour before the meeting. Mr. Maynard is aware of that, but he would like to be able to go over it. So I asked that you all pass this motion pending his approval, and I'll just ask him to sign on the bottom of whatever you sign, and you can look at that tomorrow.
Motion.
Got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Set the county tax rate, we can't do that tonight. That was one piece of the puzzle I haven't received yet. So we skip over that. There's another thing I left off the agenda, and that is, well, we can do the county roads. Darrell, you turned in some county roads. Whereas Martin County Fiscal Court is responsible for the acquisition and maintenance of county roads designated as such in Martin County, whereas a list of which attached here to Appendix A are hereby designated and determined and adopted by the Fiscal Court as defined in KRS 178.010, Kentucky Revised Statute shall further action of Martin County Fiscal Court or the operation of law or maintenance of county road for the purpose set out for and chapter 178 of Kentucky Revised Statute, passed on this 27th day of October, the appendix reads, is that Marissa? Marissa Lane, Fraley Drive, and Joe Branch Extension. Motion.
Pending that, did Mike and Joe go out and check the roads and to make sure they met all the legal
Yeah.
requirements? And will you get a legal description so that we can get it?
Motion.
He made the motion, I said.
All in favor? Now we have to go into executive session. We'll just be in there just a few minutes. A motion to go into executive session. Second. All in favor?
You know, that's a good idea, they don't have coffee here, so you don't.
Well, you got that? Right.
Motion to come out of executive session.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? On public, no, we never took no action. I just filed them on a lawsuit we received sometime between the last court meeting and this, and no action was taken. It's part of my duty to advise the fiscal court anytime we get sued, and that's what it did. Motion to pay the bills. Second.
Second.
Motion appropriation transfer list.
Motion.
Second. Second. All in favor?
Yes.
Be advised that you have the statement of revenues and expenditures for 3 months ending September the 30th in your packet. If you have any questions, transfer. Did have, I think appropriation and cash. If you have any questions, call Linda. She can answer any of them. Anything else that comes for court? Is that Virginia girl? She's gone. So, I seem like I'm leaving something out of that.
There's something that says Code Red Emergency Call System.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
That was number 3 that we skipped.
Yeah, we're going to start that program. It's a program, it's a calling system. It'll be done through 911. Sheriff has the antidote, Sheriff's still here. Sheriff has that bad wreck on Blackfall. He can advise the whole county, stay away from that area. Flooding, tornadoes. Actually, we probably help school system out here.
Yeah, we'll have to.
It's a really-
With walls in the road and all that stuff.
It's a really neat system. But we'll have a presentation, right, Josh?
Yeah.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Next court meeting, John, it's Thanksgiving. Naturally, we don't want to be here on Thanksgiving.
That's why